Hello, Rob here, and in this video I'm going to open up and unpack the Crawl expansion to Dark Venture. This is from the pre-production sample. I don't think it's going to change unless there are any major, if there are any, I don't think there's going to be any major problems with it. So let's get started. So I think I'm just going to open up this plastic like this. So again, this is the first time I'm seeing it. Let's Crawl. There we go. And here we go. Here is the manual for Crawl, first edition. On the back here we have a quick reference for, Crawl has a kind of a mini game that you can set up of Dark Venture that is just a standalone Crawl game. And so in the standalone Crawl game, you build a map and you set out and you try to, in a certain number of turns, you will try to defeat the mysterious shadow has fallen across the Dark Range. You're trying to defeat Dorogat Kelt, who is the Ancient of Death. And he is, many that were once bastions of righteousness have become possessed by a cryptic evil force. They wander the land as unthinking husks, wantonly attacking man and beast alike. You recognize the sickness as the Darkness, an incantation associated with the Ancient of Death, Dorogat Kelt. Can you disperse this ancient evil before succumbing to it yourself? So yeah, it says there are 3 ways to use the components included in this expansion. Add them to a standard Dark Venture game. So you can integrate, there are a bunch of items, as you'll see. Items and characters and locations that can just be folded into Dark Venture without any rule changes. You can play a Crawl game, which is the standalone game. And this also, there's some rules, it was an addition that something I've wanted to add to the game for a long time, which is a full world exploration game. So it's a game that you set up and the idea is to kind of go through every single location and get the full breadth of the story of the game. So there's and one of the key elements to the world exploration game is the ability to save your game. So you can play for an hour or 2 and then pack it all up again and then unpack it at another time and restart again. So it's almost like a campaign mode in a way. All right, so that is the booklet. So in here we have, these are darkness tokens. So when an enemy has been overtaken by the darkness, then you put a token on them. And as you disenchant them, you can kill them, and then they just die. But you can also disenchant them with a roll. And if you disenchant them, you get a token, and then the token can be spent to help your future disenchant rolls, among other things. These are all components that go with the standalone game. So there's a giant standee for Dorogat Kelt. And these are to denote specific decks. So they'll be, just in the setup, you will lay out a deck of enemies, A enemies, B enemies, and C enemies. And so the ranking is A enemies are the most difficult enemies in the game, and the B are moderate, and C are the still powerful but the weakest of all the enemies. And so at some points you'll be asked to spawn specific enemies, and so you draw from the A, B, or C deck to spawn them into a location. And then these tokens are interesting because every time after you've laid out your map in the standalone game, you take all of these tokens and you shuffle them up, and then you put 1 token onto each location. And as you enter the location, you flip the token and it'll tell you what's in there. So it'll be, for example, here is a B level monster and an item. spawns in that location. In this case, there's a B level item and nothing. In this case, this item is actually a weapon. In this case, it's a C level enemy and a shield item or defensive item. And here's just an object item. And then there are the standees and tokens for all the characters. A few more. There's a hero. I think there's let's see, 2 other heroes in this expansion, Thox and Larvok. All right, then we've got a few more side quests. Deck of cards, so I'll open these up in a second. Some standee bases and quite a few extra bags, a few larger bags. So these are actually big enough to fit the cards. So this is kind of part of the saving system, is you just throw in your camp token and pile up your cards in a certain way and then put them in the bag and throw the camp token in there, and then you know that that's your camp bag. So when you unpack it, that's kind of your save file. And this is for locations that have already been played. So some locations you don't want to, just shuffle them back into the deck or something. They've already been played. They've already been, you've read the story moments, the events that have taken place there. And so those, after you've packed everything away, or while you're packing things away, you'll take some of the locations and put them into one of this other bag, a played location bag, so that they don't come up again. You're not repeating yourself. Just a few extra bags for tokens. And let's see, this should be a little tab on here. I'm going at it the wrong way, maybe. Let's see, one sec. There we go. All right. Taking off the plastic. And here's what we have. We've got some creatures, heroes, more creatures, more creatures. And then we've got, I'm gonna put these back in the box here. Keep it organized. So that's all your character cards. And we have a bunch of item cards. This is a pretty cool item. The Amulet of Orcus Chrono. It gives you, it allows you to go into a location in the standard game. Allows you to go into a location, check out what's going to happen there, read an event that happens there. If there's an action in that location, you don't trigger the action, you read the action, and before resolving it, the player may choose to move back out of that location. That's kind of cool. So you sort of learn what's going to happen, and if it's a bad thing, then you can leave. Something you don't want to do, you can leave. If it's something you want to do, you can stay in there. These are some more weapons. There's Rake's Head and Rake's Hand. Magical items is he's a dead warlock. And we've got some more items, consumable items, and then we've got a couple locations here. A few locations. There's the Dark Lake Cliff, Oracle Outcrop, the Rad Outpost Light, and the Crad Outpost Light. So these locations all have, they're referenced in the book here. So you would go to, they're at the very end. Yeah, that's how it works. So we've got expansion locations. There's Dark Lake Cliff. So when you play that card, you read this description of the location, kind of looking down the road ahead. And then after you enter that location, some of the locations have actions that are triggered when you enter. So, and then lastly, we have a handful of heroic quests. So these just kind of add to the diversity of your objectives in a game. So these just get shuffled into your standard heroic quest deck. And I tried to make these as cool and weird and different as possible, rule breaking sometimes, just to mix things up a bit. Okay, so that's it. That's everything that's in the Dark Venture Crawl expansion, and hope you enjoyed seeing all of these components. And thanks so much for watching, and stay safe. Thanks.